everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are back with another On Friendship episode, and this time we are staycationing through Hallmark. We are going to Fiji. This is very exciting. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Alysa Lucas is here.
Hi. I've never been to Fiji.
I know, neither have I. So we get to travel there through Pearl in Paradise. That's what we're looking at today. This is a pretty popular summer nights movie. And so we thought it would be a fun one to look at from our sort of lens of friendship. And it's a fun one, I think, because it's something different. You know, that's one of the things that Hallmark gets pegged for. You know, you just make the same movie over and over again. Well, this one, they tried to make something different, and I appreciate that.
I have to say, when I saw the images for it and read the little tagline-y thing, I was like, oh, this better be like Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
In a way it is. It doesn't have the sarcastic Michael Douglas. I guess the main characters are almost switched in terms of what they know and what they do, but
no, it is definitely, I mean, I'd be interested to talk to some of the creators and find out how influential that was, because it definitely feels influenced by Romancing the Stone. There's no doubt about it to me.
Yeah. Yes. Which that's a plus for me. Like, that's a sell.
Yeah, this movie it's director Gary Yates and writer Christine Conrad is the name. And if people don't know Romancing the Stone, that's what was the movie that came out in like 1982, something like that?
84, I think.
Okay.
84 to 87. General
1984, you nailed it.
Where's my prize?
It was
my blue pearl.
Yeah, it was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and that was his before he did Back to the Future, and Roger Rabbit, and he had such a win streak in the 80s.
Nothing but hot sells. Love it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those 80s directors have really struggled to kind of, transition into the digital era, I guess. Like people like him, like Chris Columbus, like Rob Reiner.
They really had their moments, and it's kind of like someone who really excels in high school and never wants to leave.
Yeah. Tim Burton, I think you can make that claim. He hasn't made a good movie in a long time. So I don't know, it's interesting. But anyway, Romancing the Stone, it's all about an author that writes this romance novelist, but it's the woman who's the romance novelist in the story, who goes and she ends up meeting the Michael Douglas character who's thinks that she's some great adventurist by her novels, but anyway, it ends up being pretty funny.
I just watched that as part of my in the last couple of weeks of all the movies I've been watching in quarantine, and it's still pretty funny, but I mean, obviously the difference here is like the roles are reversed, but also she has to go to Colombia because her sister is being held by a kidnapper, so it's a very different vibe. Here it's like, this will help kickstart our careers. So although some of it might be influenced, it's not the entire Romancing the Stone vibe, okay?
It's not a copycat. It's not
exactly.
a copycat. Well, overall, what did you think? Did you think it worked or not so much?
I liked it. At first I was like, Pearl in Paradise, this is quite a title, and you had sent me the list that this is our 20th movie. So I was looking at the list and I was like, this one is very different than any of the other ones we watched. And there are a couple others that are also sort of out there, a little different. I enjoyed it. I do love treasure hunting type storylines. So I love The Goonies. I love National Treasure. I love Romancing the Stone. There was Outer Banks is a Netflix series that has sort of an up-to-date sort of look at treasure hunting. Mm-hmm. So there's something about it that's exciting. Like it's like a puzzle and you're going along the way. And so there's something fun and exciting, but also dangerous about it. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed this movie bringing these two people together. But can I say this is the first time where I did not want them to end up in a romantic relationship?
No, yeah. That would be interesting to dive into.
I actually wanted them to be like, continue to work together. You were good partners, but like let's just end it there. So that's my first take. What did you think? Have you seen this one before?
Yeah, I have. I've seen it before, and I think this is fun. But I think this thing I struggle with maybe a little bit is that I don't totally buy Chris Aloha as the nerdy guy. I think he works better as the kind of cocky guy.
Gotcha.
Because he played. If we did there's a movie called Rocky Mountain Christmas where he plays a movie star.
Oh, okay.
And I think that he fits a lot better in that role. He's also does one of the mystery shows where he plays kind of a cocky cop, and I kind of like that better than sort of the nerdy guy.
And I think this is the first movie I've seen him in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't know the other vibe. And maybe that's why where I was like, maybe I don't think that you and her belong together in some way. And who am I to judge? Like, you know what I mean? But like the idea of like watching it as observers in entertainment versus real life, I just kind of felt like, yeah, like she brought so much to the game. And like, what did you bring?
Well, I mean, as a viewer, you can decide whether you think that that an actor is right for a part or not. You know, like that's your prerogative, and that's what we all do when we watch movies.
Well, you also have to remember that I study relationships, so I don't want to tell people in real life that they don't deserve or belong in a relationship. Like, obviously, if they're coming to get help, but like, who am I to judge? Like, they decide if they're right for each other, so to speak. But so that's the hard part, is being like, okay, I'm a critic and not telling people they shouldn't be in a relationship together.
Well,
no, that's not going to work.
You mentioned that this is our 20th movie that we have reviewed together. This is not our 20th episode of On Friendship, but it is our 20th movie that you've been on the show. So
that's really exciting.
It's like, very exciting.
Just this little Lifetime girl growing into a Hallmark woman. What?
Oh.
It's all your fault. No, but I think that we're in at least a year of On Friendship, though, right?
Yeah.
Like that's exciting. We have all sorts of milestones. A year, 20 movies.
Like I said, I do appreciate that this is something different. This was the I think second in a Fiji movies that were made in 2018. And they had another one that was pretty good that I liked with Catherine Bell. I think it was called A Summer to Remember, I think. Anyway, it was good. And then this.
You said A Summer to Remember and you couldn't remember it, and that was classic. It just reminds me.
You know, Hallmark and titles. I mean, come on. At least this one has something to do with the movie Pearl in Paradise.
Yeah, we had a prom theme called A Night to Remember, but I had that same moment in class and I was like, I can't remember what it's called, and then I came back the next time after looking it up and I was like, it was called A Night to Remember. Clearly it wasn't.
Well, I don't know if I have mentioned it before, but Hallmark loves photographers. They absolutely, it is the best job.
It appeared to be. I'm ready to switch jobs.
Yeah, there have been so many Hallmark movies about photographers, and it's like photographers and then bakers are like the most popular.
I was gonna say, what are the top careers? And here's a fun question for listeners is like, what's your favorite career of the person starring in the movie? Like, what do you want to see? Because that's interesting to me too.
Yeah. They love movies about photographers or bakers, chefs. I would say that's definitely the top two.
Yeah.
I would careers.
PR type people too, like event planning, something along
event
those
planning,
lines. Yeah, okay.
That's true. As every once in a while you get a teacher, kind of role. But yeah, so Jill Wagner is in a long line of storied Hallmark photographers. We can do a whole episode ranking Hallmark photographers.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Is she on Hallmark a lot?
Yes.
Jill Wagner. I thought she was great. I think she was my favorite actor in the movie. I really liked her. She's really pretty, and that's like she has that great sort of vibe. Yeah, and
I do think they have nice chemistry together. Mm-hmm. And they do a mystery show. Okay. Maybe one of these days we should do one of the mystery shows.
Yeah.
Just something different. But they have a show called Mystery 101.
Okay.
That has been very popular, where she plays a professor, he plays a cop, detective, and yeah. And,
yes, that's up my lifetime alley.
Yeah. And so they've ended up doing now like 4 or 5 movies together.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. Yeah, these are the first time I think I've seen either one of them, and I liked them both. Mm-hmm. I liked her better. Yeah. Maybe it was this particular part, but
I was kind of laughing because her last 2 movies for Hallmark, the non-mystery ones, she's ended up taking people shopping, and I didn't realize in this movie that she takes people shopping again, and I'm like, what is it about Jill Wagner? She take people shopping and every
new job for Hallmark stars.
Yeah.
Personal shopper. Is there a movie about a personal shopper? There should be.
Because in one, she's like an HGTV kind of designer or whatever. So she takes the guy shopping. And then in another one, she's a interior decorator.
Yeah.
And she takes the guy shopping. And I'm like, what is happening?
And this time she had to set him straight. Well, this is like an emergency situation, though, because he was not prepared for a 3-day hike. Let's be real.
No. But it starts out, I think it's an interesting discussion where she's too much of a perfectionist. She misses the deadline at work because she wants to get the perfect picture. And her boss tells her, you're too much of a perfectionist. That you have great ideas, but they're no good if they're not publishable, if they're late.
Well, Rachel, if you're gonna pick a movie that was about me, you could have let me know in advance, because I was like, perfectionist, is this about me?
You read whatever you want to read into the movie, Alysa.
I am definitely a perfectionist, but I'm not as laid back as she is otherwise. It's just kind of like, let's go with the Fiji scene. But yeah, when it was perfectionist, I was cracking up. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this movie. This is great.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've never been somebody that has like the best attention to small details. I'm kind of I just like, let's get the job done. Let's finish it.
Yeah.
If it's not perfect, oh well, my mom would get frustrated with me about that, it's like, I could have done more. I could have worked harder, but sometimes I get insecure about something that I just want to, the not having it done is kind of an insecurity for me. I was like, let's get it done. Let's finish it.
And it's behind you. Whereas I'm leaving. Like, let me spend 12 hours on this thing that should take an hour.
But so it's an interesting thing. Like a big moment of my childhood, the thing one memory I have really strongly is we had an assignment that we were supposed to do a project on a bird, type of bird, and I had gotten assigned Canadian geese, and we were supposed to do a drawing of Canadian geese. And my mom's a really wonderful artist, and she's actually been studying art pretty consistently in the last couple years. And anyway, but she made me like draw out the geese, like do the lines with the ruler and all that whole thing so that it looked really good. And we spent the whole night, and I was so irritated.
You're like, let me just draw some stick figure Canadian geese and move along.
But I think it was one of those learning experiences where my mom was like, I'm going to make this daughter do a good job if it kills me.
I can't draw, so that would have been torture for me.
Yeah. But I think I still have it actually in my box of stuff back home from my childhood.
You hope you earned
Canadian geese that my mom wouldn't let me. So yeah, being a parent is great.
Yeah, it's got to be rough when the kids start getting homework and stuff.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
But yeah, so it's this idea of sort of perfectionism is something, but that you can be, if you're not careful, you can take it to the other extreme. You can be like me with the goose drawing, where it's like, come on, do better. Like, don't just be satisfied. That was my mom was trying to teach me. Don't just be satisfied with just, or just good enough. Like, go for it. Like, work harder, make it better, and take the time to draw use the ruler and make the drawing better. But then you can come the other extreme where it's like, it's never good enough. And you're
but neither one of us would have podcasts out if we had that attitude, right?
Yeah, I
think podcasting has actually helped me understand my perfectionism more.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, like, I've been podcasting almost 3 years for Best Forevers and almost 2 years for my other podcast, that it's like, I would have never done it if I was waiting for a perfect episode.
Yeah,
here's the thing,
true.
There isn't one. At least not from me, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's so unpredictable. Like, you have no idea what is going to take off and what people will like, and so you just have to kind of be yourself and do the best you can, and hope that people like it. That's all you can do.
Exactly. And if they don't, it's like, well, there's all these other podcasts, so
if they don't, you hopefully had a good enough time doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's for us and then for others, right?
That's right. But yeah, I'm always trying to push myself to make it better, but then also you have to just keep put it out there, get it out on time. And I think that it's easy to look back on old episodes and be like, oh, that wasn't it. But
let's re-listen to my first 3 episodes when I had 2 mics, but only one was picking up sound when I had guests. So, so it sounds horrible.
You're like, thank you for sticking with me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of her problem, is she has great ideas. She can be the creative director, but she doesn't get in it on time. So what good is your ideas?
Yeah, it's hard to be in a magazine business if you can't stick to deadlines, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then he has had 2 books that have not done as well. He's a writer. He has. What do you think of Blake Montoya?
Sounded
do you like
that
name?
Yeah, I was like, this sounds like a romance novel.
Yeah, it does. Blake Montoya. It would have been fun if we'd gotten some of the prose. They didn't really read any of it. Like,
funny. I want to hear the story. Can someone write the book now?
Another movie like this that I like is Nim's Island. Have you ever seen Nim's Island?
I haven't.
That one's a fun one. You should put that in.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah. Jodie Foster, Gerard Butler.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a kid's version of Romancing the Stone, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Add it to my list.
Yeah. Anyway, and so his last two books haven't done that well. He gets this. What would you call this dude that becomes his agent? This guy.
Obnoxious.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Yeah. He's going to keep him from being safe. He's going to push him, and if he doesn't listen to him, then he's going to be dropped by his publisher. This is disaster. It's not good.
Which would probably go over better if he was notified in advance instead of this guy just showing up at the coffee shop or wherever he was to meet his editor. And
his publisher is busy. He's
but it's still like
very busy.
Send a text message, send an email. Like, he was completely blindsided. So I can understand like how he might have been like upset in his first sort of like interaction with this guy.
Yeah. So he's very fastidious. He's like a germaphobe. He has everything super organized in his life. He writes these adventure stories, but he never leaves his apartment hardly at all. And his goal is, he says that he wants to get people to go to all these places with their imagination. And I feel like in the age of quarantine, I'm on his side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but at the same time, like, it's also like, how can you truly understand some of the experiences if you haven't experienced anything? And so, like, I understand she kind of calls him on it at some point too. And like, the thing about it is, like, that's some great research he has. He's a great researcher to be able to come up with all that information. But I think, like, he's going to be a better writer because he experienced Fiji in this particular story.
Yeah. But he claims in his book that Pearl in Paradise that he knows where this blue pearl is in Fiji, and she decides that she's going to make this big pitch so that she can become the creative director. She's going to go with him and go to Fiji, and they are going to write this article about finding the pearl. And this article is going to save his career. It is going to be really exciting. And it's going to
help her get the creative director position. So it's kind of like it helps both of them work-wise. So you got to help each other to help yourselves, I guess.
The only catch is he has no idea where the pearl is. He doesn't know.
Oh, oops. Did I forget to tell you that? Why would you write that in the forward of your book? Just trying to get more people to buy it or something? I don't know. Like, that was a bold, considering how organized and like disciplined he seems, that seems like such a risk.
Yeah.
To say you know where something is when you don't.
Right. And he says a few good maps, expert guide, and maybe a little faith is what he's counting on.
Yeah.
That he can. And like, I think he's not really sort of thinking this whole trip. He's kind of taking it one step at a time, because he can't get away, can't talk himself out of it, and so he's just hoping that somehow it'll all work out. And
he also doesn't want to do it anyways, probably because he doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
So he calls it silly, like it's a silly project.
Yeah. They start up, and she is the opposite. She just wants to experience, life, and her philosophy is that she wants people to see her photos and be inspired to then go out and travel themselves.
Yeah.
And that's sort of her dream. And it goes back to when she was in high school, that she went on a hike, took some photos, and inspired one of the other kids in her high school to then go on the same hike. So that's her sort of dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't take much to inspire me to go to Fiji, but
yeah. Well, but that's the thing, is they have like opposite, pulls, where it's like she wants people to go out, and he's like, well, if people are going to be home, I can take them there.
Yeah.
And don't we need a little bit of both?
Yeah, we do. And so, he's never been to Fiji, but he has developed kind of relationships with people. And one of the fun things about both of the Fiji movies that they made is they used a lot of local talent.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was cool, I thought. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so he gets a journal from a woman named Sarita. That's the journal of her grandfather. And he promises that he's going to take really good care of it, guard it with his life. And so that's what he's hoping, as this germaphobe and this nerdy guy, he's hoping this journal will be the key and kind of save him from this situation. But of course, and she says to him, my photos and your writing, the article is going to be good. Mm-hmm. And so she's pretty excited. They do have kind of a cute, funny meet cute.
Yeah.
Where he kind of says, oh, I'm here to, they meet at the hotel bar.
Well, he isn't there drinking. He's going to ask if it's going to be as noisy as it is, because he wanted to do some work or writing, where she is like enjoying the atmosphere and being in Fiji, and then they meet at the bar.
Yeah, they meet at the bar, and she had stolen his cab too.
Yeah. And his bag.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have the same kind of luggage.
Yes.
Except for different packing inside the luggage.
Yeah.
And anyway, and so they meet at the bar, and he's all like, oh, I have to be with this reporter for this photographer for this thing. And she's like, hi, that's who. And you think that he would have seen a picture of her at the point in 2020.
Have you ever Googled anyone in your life? It's 2018. Like, I'd be like, because she read his book, so it's like he could just be like, what's this magazine about? He's like, I've never even read it. And it's like, do some research beforehand. I thought you were a great researcher. I even praised you like 5 minutes ago. So it's like,
I would have probably looked at her Facebook profile a bunch of times, or
just
Google, Twitter,
see what comes up. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. That's right.
Whatever.
But nevertheless, they are put together. They have to work together, so they start off kind of frustrated, but she then, the next day before they're going to go out, she goes and judges his wardrobe, like you said, and these are all the wrong things for the rainforest. Jeans, dress shirts. He even has the wrong sunglasses.
Well, here's the thing. Didn't he have to dress his characters in the book at some degree? Like, I seriously, like, it's like he's so against doing this, probably because he knows he doesn't know where it is. So it's like he's dragging his feet in these maybe indirect ways that he might not even realize. But it's like kind of annoying, but she's super patient and kind and friendly and helps him shop for the things that he needs, even though he could have looked it up. I'm going to Fiji. Here's the thing. I know we're all different, but if I was going for a hike for 3 days, I'd probably be like, what am I supposed to wear? Like, even when I been to London, I'm like, what do people wear there? So I don't go in looking like a tourist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like it's not like a huge leap to not bring dress shirts on your, like, what?
Do you want to get it messy?
Like, the boots looked fine. I can understand why he'd bring those. And I would probably want to wear, I don't know. It seems like you'd want to wear like Birkenstocks or something like that.
Not to hike in probably, but like to other stuff. I don't know. Like,
I mean, he
was wearing like a long sleeve shirt and pants and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, like Birkenstocks have like real soles though, like real, like they're like, you can wear them doing athletic stuff. Yeah. Like a Teva or a Birkenstock. Like, I would think, as opposed to like a big clunky boot I wouldn't think you'd want to wear that. But what do I know?
I've never hiked in Fiji.
No, I never have. I've hiked a little bit in Hawaii.
I just watch movies about people hiking in Fiji.
I've hiked a little bit in Hawaii, but that's all I can really say.
That's close. You win. Yeah. Close. You're closer.
But and so she takes him shopping, and this is a very extensive store at the hotel. They have a portable shower that you can buy.
Yeah, that was
solar
cool.
shower.
Yeah, and I was like, usually in hotel gift shops, it's basically like tourist trap.
Yeah, it's basically like
Fiji, but like the like
they might have like snorkeling gear or stuff like that, maybe more. But yeah, this is very extensive. They even have a solar shower, and she's excited about that. And he's like, "What is this? I don't like this at all." And then we meet Malachi and Daniela, and they are so cute. I love them.
Yeah, they were great.
And it's father-daughter, and they agree to go, and they're going to be the experts, go with them on the trip.
Well, because they've read him, so they're very excited to see him in action. And I was like, bro, this lie has gone too far. If she has to buy you clothes from a store because you haven't shopped right, I think they're going to be on to you that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I did like the little scene that they had with the two of them dancing in that evening. I thought that was really intimate, and you could feel their chemistry. And I think it's no surprise that the two of them have then gone on to work on a lot of other projects, because I do think they have a really nice chemistry together.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like you don't often, especially this early in the movie, you don't often get those kind of intimate moments in Hallmark movies.
I still have to say, I was hoping for a soul friendship relationship.
Yeah.
Thinking that they come together and work. And I know that isn't going to happen or at all or very often, but I still was like, there's something about him where I was like, no, this isn't going to work.
Right. I can see that. And so then they go on the hike, and she kind of trips into him several times, which I always love that in movies. I get, especially in the age of social distancing, like the idea of falling into your true love is very romantic, I think.
Someone's gonna be like, get out of my space!
Yeah. Get out of my space!
How did you just trip 12 feet to run into me?
Yeah. But they see flowers that are their first clue of I forget exactly. I forgot to write down what exactly they meant. But there's flowers have they symbolize love or something like that. I forget what it was.
But they were like Fiji's flowers.
Yeah, they're special flowers.
And they weren't usually, it's not something that would have grown on the island that they were on. So that was probably like a sign of something happening.
And so there's also the scene, she drops her camera and it gets like wet. And he uses his super duper sleuthing a tea remedy to clean the camera. It was pretty exciting.
Tea a bad name. She's like, do you want something to drink when they're at the bar before they go? I drink tea, but like that's it. And I was like, bro.
And like his own tea. He doesn't take tea from the coffee shop.
He brings only his own with tea. Him.
It's only
I'm like, can you even is that legal to bring tea from America over to Fiji? I think there's some places where you can't bring the tea and things like that.
Maybe, I don't know. But he's like the ambassador of tea, not only for his to drink, but also for all kinds of home remedies and other things, which is a true thing, because I don't drink tea myself, but that you can use it if you have something swollen. You can put
it on your
bag
eye.
On.
Yep.
And I particularly when I had a sigh in my eye. A while back, I would put the tea on my eye, because you obviously don't want to have anything with any kind of astringency right on your eye. So tea was the solution, the tea bag.
That's cool. When the camera fell, though, it was Daniela who dropped it, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't bring any of my camera lens wipes," and I was like, "Wait, are you a professional photographer?" She didn't have any, which is why she had to rely on the tea. And I was like, is anyone prepared for this trip? Or we just like, do we just wake up and like go to the airport and like, let's do this thing? Like, no one was ready for it.
It's not the most gritty. I mean, definitely Romancing the Stone has the grittiness factor much higher than this. This is a Hallmark version of an excursion.
Well, yeah, but it's like, at least like do a scene where she left it behind at the hotel, so it was an accident. I was like, you just don't have them at all? I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. But he saves the day with his tea, and that starts to really win him over. Then they get to this hill, and he says that, oh, we got to descend it by rope. We're not going to walk down. We're going to send it by rope. and Christopher Colin, I guess his name is, he ends up falling down the hill, and that's a pretty funny scene, I think.
Yeah. It's like, I thought you knew about hiking, sir.
And you don't tend to get physical comedy that often in Hallmark, so I appreciated that they went and made it pretty broad.
Yeah.
Made it funny. And falling down the mountain. Like, ah! And he tells Alex that the dating never lasts long because they expect Blake Montoya. And he says, but they get Colin Page, who's a writer who sits alone in a room all day telling stories for a living. And
yeah, super disappointing. And then she's like, I don't date because I travel around the world, and apparently people in relationships actually want to see each other.
Yeah, and she says, but he's also a really nice guy and kind and maybe a little good looking.
Oh. So, do your job, people.
Yeah. And then you get a cute, you get a scene between Malachi and Colin talking at night, and he tells Malachi that he doesn't know where the pearl is and that he hasn't told Alex. And this
lies.
Yeah, I mean, lies, but I mean, he's still just hoping that everything will just work out and that he'll get by. And normally I hate this whole sort of, how dare you lie to me? How could you? And that whole thing is not my favorite trope. But I have to say, here it is very minimally used. I mean, she's actually at the end, she's not mad at him about the fact that he didn't tell the truth about his knowledge of the pearl. She gets over that very quickly. She's mad at him about other stuff, and so I don't really mind it here, because I think it makes some degree of sense that he would try to kind of see what he could get away with.
But the other thing is, though, from things that we talk about in classes or research in terms of what upsets people, usually it's not so much what happened, it's the lie that does make people upset, though. So people don't like being lied to. And I understand like overusing the trope, but I was kind of like, you're in a different country doing a 3-day hike with someone that is clearly not prepared or has no knowledge. and then, which we'll talk about when we get there, then it turns out being something like that doesn't end up happening, right? And so, I mean, her being at least disappointed is, I would think they would spend a little bit more time on that, because I think they've have their entire careers hitched on it, essentially. At least what she wants to be promoted, and his books aren't doing well. I think he's not taking that as seriously. And I think it is like a defense mechanism, or he's in denial. But I do think there is a level of impact that it has on other people that he didn't consider. And so I would have been okay with more of it, because I was kind of like, excuse me?
Right.
I'm not saying that I can't.
I can see what you're saying.
People. It's just that generally when you ask people what they don't like being lied to. And
I mean, but I just feel like that it just usually comes off as really false. And it's like, you've just spent all this time with this person, and you're, I don't know. I just don't like it as a plot device. It always feels like, come on. You're fine.
But it also is like their relationship is based on his saying that he knows where the pearl is and never correcting anyone, and saying it might be at least harder to find it now because of the book sales or something. Other people have been looking for it, so it might not be there, or we have to protect it. I mean, there's lots of things you can do to like be sure that this thing doesn't happen, but he really went all in on it. And I don't think there would be a lot of people who would be upset with her for being mad at him, because
I'm just glad that they kept it minimal, that she gets over it pretty quick. That's what I like. But anyway, they had this really cute, I thought, moment between the two of them when they're talking about how they love stars. And they both of them love stars. And she says that she had this whole idea of this constellation star finding article that she wanted to do. And I mean, we only wish the journalism was like this in 2020, but unfortunately it's not as exciting, I don't think, as this movie would lead you to believe. But nevertheless,
so we're talking about a very specific. I thought the story would have been great for a travel magazine. Let's do it. But the creative director killed her star finding trip article. And so he says, promise me you'll do it. You'll write that article. So it was a cute moment. I liked that. Yeah. And so then they go and visit an eco lodge run by a man named Koo and his father. And they have dinner with him. And they ask him if he's seen the pearl. And he tells them the legend of the Fisherman, which is an oral history, and it's about basically it's about a fisherman who loses himself in looking for the pearl, and that he spent his whole life looking because he didn't feel like he was good enough for the woman that his great love, and so if he found the pearl, then he would be worthy of her. But she loved him all along and didn't need the pearl, but he didn't believe that, and so he just kept looking for the pearl and lost his love. So it's sort of a bittersweet love story in the pearl. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. Well, that becomes very important as they go on.
So then the next morning, Daniela and Malachi leave and kind of send them on their own. And this is when he tells her that he doesn't know where the pearl is. And he says, I thought I could do this. I thought that I could figure it out with the journal, with the, and I don't know. And she says, I'm just always a disappointment. I'm sorry. And she tells him, I would have come on the trip anyway. And I would have still asked you to come with me, even if you hadn't done this. So, and that's basically the end of that whole conflict. So I
just chuckle slightly at, because I'm like, really, you're going to go on a trip with someone who knows nothing about anything related to hiking?
Well, I mean, I can picture it, because I think then her article would just be a different pitch. It would be, I'm taking the adventure writer on an actual adventure. That would have
been cute. Let's do that. Let's do a sequel.
Right. As opposed to we're going to find it. And this guy knows where to find it. So it's kind of a different pitch. Yeah. And she just say,
I like that pitch.
Should be her pitch for every article is, I'm going to take him shopping. I'm going to take people shopping. We know that's what she's good at.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so he's feeling kind of like, oh, I'm such a disappointment. And then they have the whole conversation. I want to inspire people. And basically he says, well, what do we got to lose? And I just feel like this is how you do a lie reveal trope. You just, you have a moment where someone's frustrated. They say they're sorry. And it's just not stretched out beyond then they make up like grown-ups, and I don't know, this to me, I like it way better.
You're assuming that grown-ups act like grown-ups, Rachel. Where most people hold grudges or can't process information right away. They can't even hear it,
Yeah. So then they reach the river, and this is quite an action scene for our Hallmark.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was intense.
Yeah, I mean, it starts. They think it's just going to be like a little, river, whatever. But they put everything in the floating bag, dry bag. And then they start to cross the river, and then they basically like get caught up in the river. And so way to go, stunt doubles. They did a very good job.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, she was like, oh, we could just walk across. Then as soon as she steps down, she's like, bye. She was out of there.
Yeah.
She was in the river, gone.
Which, as somebody who loves open water swimming, I can appreciate. That was fun.
I was like, oh, bye.
Yeah, and I liked that. I thought it was fun. Again, something different that you don't typically see in these movies. And so she's gotten so invested in this quest. She hasn't thought about the promotion. He doesn't care. He hasn't thought about his book in 3 days. It's very exciting. Then you have almost a little bit of a near kiss moment between them. And
I was like, no.
Yeah, and then he gets mud in his eye, and so then they don't kiss, but it gets close.
Yeah.
And so then we find out that they are looking at the map and the whole Fisherman story, that there's decades of tears flow over the rocky ridge. And so then they figure out, oh, this is a waterfall. And they also take like a very good camera selfie, like with the regular camera.
Yeah,
that was you did a really good job.
Impressive.
And just follow the path of the tears and find the flower that means tears, and so that was the flower that they found earlier, and it's the tears of the fisherman who wasted his life looking for the pearl. And then they find it that it's in a box under the rocks, and it says on the box, those worthy of the pearl can never have found the pearl. And so what do you think about that? The fact that, what do you think?
I was mad.
Yeah. I mean, I do think they could have, obviously they're not going to have like a real pearl, but it did look a little dollar store. They could have tried a little harder.
So yeah, I mean, it looked like it was created in the last 10 years versus something that's been there for a very long time, right? That was the first thing. But also I was like, well, like, just have a story to have a story, then why actually have a thing? Like, they both need it so badly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I get it. Like, the point is, like, if you're always searching for something, you're never going to be able to find it. Like, I think that's essential. So it's like, if you're on a mad search for a relationship, you're not going to find that person, and then it's more likely that if you just stop looking, then you're going to meet someone, something like that. Maybe not in quarantine, but I kind of got that vibe from it, is that if they do take, or almost another way to look at it is, if you take that pearl, it's bad luck.
Yeah, and also just that the power of sort of believing and finding the pearl is something that they wouldn't want to take away from from other people and other experiences, and that other people have found the pearl in the past, and in order to find the pearl, you have to have faith the pearl existed, and if you have a picture, there's the faith is gone. I do think
here's the thing, make something fun, have them then go hide it somewhere else and create something else, and then other people can go then find it, and then it just carries on forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that if you had clues and other things like that could be fun. That's true.
Yeah.
And the only thing I wish, I like the message of faith. It's something you don't always get, sort of a overlying message in these movies, and I like it, but I wish that it had been brought up earlier in the story. Because I guess they lack self-confidence in ways, but I never really felt like they were lacking in faith, or that they didn't believe that they could find it. In fact, he believes that he can find the pearl. That's the whole reason he
And she's just going to go with him, and he's going to help her find it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no question about whether or not they're going to find it, except for the fact that we know that he doesn't know where it is, right?
Right.
And that's why I was kind of mad. I mean, not mad like, rah, but I was just kind of like, wait, what? Because they get all the way there, then it's like, just kidding, you can't have it. And I was like, that was easier to find. And then it's probably like, a lot of people have probably found it, but then maintained the story more as like folklore than anything else because of the faith aspect. But I think you're right. I think that needed to be a theme from the beginning.
Yeah, that they lacked. I mean, you see him that he lacks some self-confidence, but is he lacking in faith? I don't know. I think they could have made that more of a theme from the very beginning. But it's certainly fun. I like it. And he says without faith the pearl doesn't mean anything, and they would ruin the legend. And so that's fun.
Or share the legend with other people and bring tourists to Fiji.
Yeah, that's what he did in his book. That's right. Yeah. And and he says looking at the pearl in the museum isn't the same as coming out here to find it yourself. Mm-hmm. And so there you go.
That's fair.
And she says, I just really want to inspire people, and so they can in inspiring people to go on the hunt for the pearl as opposed to actually finding or showing the pearl. Mm-hmm. And so that they have that sort of agreement to each other that they're not going to share about the pearl. They're going to keep it between the two of them. And so they go back home to the hotel, and he says, what would Blake Montoya do? And he says, well, how do you feel? And what about you? Stop thinking about what Blake Montoya would do. And the agent thinks that he has found the pearl because things are like breaking up in the phone call. Thinks he's found the pearl, and then he starts writing. And I didn't even think that he was writing an article at all. Like, when did he?
Oh, that was from the beginning. She was doing, because she wanted to write from her point of view, and the editor was like, he writes the narrative, you take the photos. So he was going to write the narrative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed that.
That was at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And so he writes, and the agent tells the editor they found the pearl, and then the editor tells tells Alex that he's writing about finding the pearl. And so she's very upset because she feels like he broke their deal.
Betrayed her in some way by revealing the pearl.
Yeah, that he's taking credit for finding the pearl, even though they agreed that they didn't find the pearl.
Yeah.
And so she's really upset. And so I like that. I think that's a much better betrayal than the how could you lie to me betrayal. Like, this is more of a like real agreement that they had. This is more of a real I think this is a much better betrayal than what you typically get. So I appreciate that. And so she's frustrated, but she says, I found the inspiration I've been missing, and she ends up getting the promotion. Woo-hoo! And says it's the best cover story we've ever done.
She's like, but you don't have any of my pictures.
And she says, let's see. And he says, Alex and I never found the pearl, but it's only in the quest that you find the treasures. She inspired me to go on a different journey. Love is the greatest adventure of all. And I did he was very dreamy to me when he's in her office with that little plant. And
he comes back to win her over.
Yeah.
Just like in Romancing the Stone, but he's wearing the snake boots and he's on a boat in the middle of New York City.
I mean, him and that plant and I mean, they're both so tall that they are the perfect match. Two tall people falling in love. What more do you want, Alysa? I mean, come on.
I'm sure it's what my mom always wanted. She's tall. My dad's shorter though, so it turned out okay.
Yeah, and so then they kiss in the office, and it's really cute. And she says, "But I don't ever want to make a list, ever." And he gives her a pearl necklace, which is cute. Super
snap.
Cute. Yeah. And there we go. That's the movie. And I really appreciate that this one does something different, that it took some risks, and I'd encourage more of that risk taking in the world of Hallmark. And I like the fact that this that the whole relationship doesn't land on just sort of a petty disagreement. That it's actually like, I don't know, I feel like it actually is better written than that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that if we're talking about their relationship, that, you know, they don't know each other, so they're going from strangers, and so they have to get to know each other. And so, you know, maybe going on an adventure with people when you don't know them, you get to know them very well. And so
that's true.
And the problem solving and that sort of thing, and that there's likely to be disagreements when you travel, for sure. And so that's why, like, I just thought that they could continue to do these different adventures, and he write and she take photos, if it wasn't focused on the end romantic relationship, that it was focused on friendship or a partnership. Because I think like they could really sort of dominate the field of travel magazines. But you know, because they just kind of bypass the friendship at a certain point, because until he comes, it's like she's kind of done with him until he shows up at her office. Like, they haven't talked or anything,
right?
And I don't know how many days have gone by, or that, I mean, it's been published at this point, or she gets an email version of it, so she hasn't spoken to him. And I just wonder if, like, what a story like that would do for adults. Do we just always assume and hope that they'll end up in a romantic relationship, or is that a series, kind of like a partnership like you're talking about? Is it romantic on their Murder 101, or what is it called?
It is, but obviously since it's a series, it's more stretched out. But
okay. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more friendship, but I always am. And I was just like, and I love treasure. I just want a treasure partnership that where someone doesn't become greedy and someone isn't, you know, and that didn't happen. They ended up, it worked out for them, but I just want more treasures found. Apparently I don't have the faith until people bring them and show me that they have found the treasures.
Well, so you want like Dr. Jones and Marion?
Yes. I want them to be like the ongoing like partnership of, let's find the treasures. We can't do it alone. We need our best friend to do it.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Well, very good. But I would encourage them to keep taking the risks and keep trying, and keep trying different settings, different ideas. And I think that this was a refreshing breath of air for the world of Hallmark, I think. And so, Christopher Plow had done a bunch of stuff for them in the past, and Joe Wagner had done 2 or 3 other movies, but it really kind of catapulted the two of them as 2 of the favorites. And we had a ton of comments I posted on Twitter. On Twitter about this film. And so let me read some of the thoughts on Twitter. So our good friend Anne, co-host Anne, she says, love the banter between Jill and Paloha. Also, of course, beautiful scenery throughout, and enjoyed the lesson at the end about not revealing that they found the pearl. So Tani says, great chemistry, amazing locations, and I love the subversion of tropes slightly, with him being the shy, awkward one and her being the adventurous go-getter.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Sarah Sassy Pants 25 says they have great chemistry, and it proves that regardless of plot, these two will always have that connection.
Oh, hey. It probably means that would you say that they're friends in real life? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, this was their first movie together, but they definitely have been.
Let's interview the two of them about their friendship.
Okay, that would be fun. Yeah, both of them have been on our podcast multiple times. They're great. We have Caroline Richardson says, love their chemistry, love Chris being a writer, and their banter is the cutest. The ending is so cute.
No.
Yeah, him with that flower.
Yeah.
It's the best. I absolutely love it. Terry says it's the bestest. Lovely location. Love the role reversal, as it's usually the lady who's uptight and tidy and damsel in distress. It's an actual adventure. Great supporting cast. Story is fun and differs from traditional Hallmark a wee bit. Why haven't they made like 3 sequels already? Because they're busy making mystery shows.
Because they could be a friendship duo adventuring together. This is exactly what I'm saying.
It could be fun. Let's see. Patty Dial says, loved it. Have watched it twice. Wish they could have taken the pearl with them. Loved the ending. Chris and Jill are so good together.
I agree with that. Take the pearl.
You're not a romantic.
I'm on. It's on friendship. Hello.
I know, but it's such a romantic idea of leaving the pearl for others to find and being selfless and not, being greedy and having faith. And MJ69 says, I loved it. I love that it had a message about faith. One of my favorite movies. Fiji has been one of the best places that I've wanted to visit. Paul F says, chemistry between Chris Beloa and Jill Wagner is great. Not only do they become close friends in the movie, but are in real life. So there we go.
They just need to know when to stop.
Reese says, I haven't watched this one with a critical thinking eye. I just know it's one I really enjoyed. So hopefully we added to your enjoyment in this analysis with a critical eye. That's the goal. We tried. Some of the thoughts from the fans. This is a favorite, and I think it's cute. It's really cute. So
I want to know I like the idea that they build close friends during the movie, because they don't know each other, and I think it starts with her kindness of not being offended by the fact that he called it stupid at the bar.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? Like, she gave him a lot of grace, I would say, in a lot of different instances that could have gone very wrong.
Yeah, but I feel like that's true to life. I feel like most time people, you can carry grudges, and that's a thing too. But I think a lot of times people are like, oh, that's funny. That's a funny joke. And
but the thing is, though, is that she had to take that grace for them to become friends, because some people would be offended by it, and she might have just walked away. Like,
so, but I think most of the time people are just like, oh, that was a funny story. We'll tell that story. That was a funny, that happened. And so maybe that's why typically the liar reveal comes off as really false to me, because I feel like most people are it's just like a quick little conversation, and it's like, okay, I understand why you did instead of they're just like
Here's the thing, though, people get mad when people cut them in line, so I guess I'm more on the side that people get offended by things.
I'm like, this is the person you're supposedly in love with, and you're not willing to have like a conversation about why they did what they did and why they lied what they lied.
But they didn't know each other. That's the thing, is this is their first interaction, is this trip. And he started out with a lie. So I'm just saying that, like, there are a lot of people, I think, that would be offended by that, and that she gives him grace by not being offended by it. We could be friendlier to people and maybe give them that grace or kindness, because if we don't, then we're never going to make friends. Right. Like, that's sort of what I'm thinking.
I mean, I don't advise lying. I think you should avoid lying, but I also think you should have conversations with people that you're falling in love with and find out, why did you do what you did, and why, let's talk it out and let's deal with it. And so in this movie, that's basically what she does. I mean, she's very quick to forgive. She's a really fun, nice person. And you definitely get the impression that she's a cool person. Like,
I think she's way cooler than him. Yeah. Maybe that's the issue, is that I feel like she's giving all the grace and kindness than the other way around.
I can see that. But that's why he's got to show up with that plant, that tiny little plant.
For real. You got to do something, buddy. Yeah.
I mean, go on.
The pearl's still back in its i.e. secret location that pretty much anyone walking down the stream can find.
So yeah, this was a fun one. I really enjoyed talking about this. I mean, if we can't leave our house these days, we're all turned into Collins these days.
And that we can enjoy things because she existed.
It's good that we have Pearl in Paradise to watch. So if people want to follow your podcast and everything, how do they find you?
Yes, I'm bestforeverspod@gmail.com. You can email me there, or you can find me on bestforeverspod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And the podcast is located on all your favorite podcatchers and www.alysalucas.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all over the place. We really appreciate it. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. We really, really, really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and give us your comments. We sure appreciate that as well. We have our Patron group, which we'll be doing monthly watch-alongs, which are so fun with behind-the-scenes talent. And so definitely something to check out. We try to make it worth your while. We sure appreciate our patrons. And then we also have our merch store, which has all kinds of fun Hallmark inspired merch. So please check that out as well. And thanks so much, Alysa. This is always so much fun. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.